27 cheap Amish recipes you'll wish you knew sooner. The Amish have been living simply for generations, and their food reflects that quiet, humble beauty. These aren't flashy meals. There are no exotic spices or complicated steps, just basic ingredients, time-tested methods, and a whole lot of love. When times were tough, Amish families turned to recipes that were cheap, filling, and reliable, passed down from mother to daughter, scribbled into worn cookbooks, or shared over kitchen tables after Sunday service. Today, we re-looking back at 25 cheap Amish recipes you'll wish you knew sooner, because sometimes the best meals come from the simplest places. 1. Amish white bread, flour, yeast, sugar, water, and a little oil. That's it. This soft, fluffy bread was often baked in large batches to feed big families, served with butter and jam for breakfast, or torn into pieces and dipped in soup for dinner. The smell alone could bring everyone into the kitchen, and the taste unmatched. 2. Cheesy noodle bake, cooked egg noodles mixed with a simple sauce of melted cheese, milk, butter, and eggs, then baked until golden on top. Sometimes chopped onions or leftover meat was stirred in. But even plain, it was hearty and satisfying. It was Amish mac and cheese, made to stretch $1 and fill every belly at the table. 3. Skillet fried potatoes and onions. Sliced potatoes and onions, pan-fried in butter or bacon drippings, crisp around the edges, soft in the middle, and seasoned with just salt and pepper, served at breakfast, lunch, or dinner, sometimes topped with an egg, sometimes eaten straight from the pan. Simple, honest, delicious. 4. Cornmeal mush. Just cornmeal and water, cooked low and slow until thick and soft, then poured into a loaf pan to chill and firm up. Once set, it was sliced and fried in a skillet until crispy on the outside, served with maple syrup, molasses, or applesauce. It was breakfast in the Amish countryside, and made from almost nothing. 5. Shoofly pie, a sweet pie made from molasses, brown sugar, flour, and butter, with a crumbly topping and soft center. It got its name from the flies that tried to sneak a taste while it cooled on the windowsill. Sticky, rich, and unforgettable, this dessert was the heart of Amish baking, and often served at gatherings, fairs, or after a long day's work. 6. Poor man's stew, no beef, no problem. This hearty stew was made from potatoes, carrots, onions, celery, and sometimes a handful of macaroni or rice, all simmered in a tomato-based broth. If there was meat, it was often just a little browned ground beef or leftover ham scraps, served with fresh bread or biscuits. It was a full meal in one pot, and it stretched to feed a crowd. 7. Amish one-pan goulash, elbow macaroni, ground beef, diced tomatoes, onions, and a touch of sugar or ketchup, all cooked together in one skillet. No fancy seasonings, just salt, pepper, and maybe a pinch of paprika. It was fast, cheap, and easy to clean up, and the leftovers even better the next day. 8. Milk noodles, egg noodles boiled, then drained and tossed with warm milk, butter, and a dash of salt, and that's it. A simple side dish, or even a light supper on its own, sometimes topped with cinnamon sugar for a sweet version, or a few peas and scraps of ham for savory. Soft, creamy, and pure comfort. 9. Ham and cabbage casserole, chopped cabbage steamed until tender, mixed with cooked ham chunks, shredded potatoes, cream, and cheese, then baked into a golden casserole. It was a great way to use up leftovers and fill the kitchen with that warm, familiar smell of dinner time. 10. Chicken corn soup with rivels. Rivels were tiny, soft dumplings made from egg and flour, pinched into a hot pot of chicken and corn soup. This dish was served at weddings, funerals, and everyday family meals, full of shredded chicken, sweet corn, onion, and those little floating dough bits that soaked up all the flavor. Simple, brothy, and deeply nourishing, just the way Grandma made it. 11. Amish breakfast. Casserole, a mix of eggs, shredded potatoes, bits of bacon or sausage, and cheese, all baked together in one deep dish, served hot for breakfast, but often eaten again at lunch or dinner. It was rich, filling, and great for feeding a big family with just a few eggs and some leftovers. No fuss, no fluff, just good, honest food. 12. Tomato gravy over biscuits. Ripe tomatoes, cooked down with butter, flour, and a little milk or broth to make a silky, savory gravy, poured generously over warm, homemade biscuits. If there was bacon grease in the pan, even better. This was a Depression-era staple that stuck around because it was simple, cheap, and unbelievably comforting. 13. Pickled red beet eggs. Hard-boiled eggs soaked in a mixture of beet juice, vinegar, sugar, and spices, stored in jars and kept cold until the whites turned bright pink. These eggs were tangy, slightly sweet, and often served at every Amish gathering alongside potato, salad, or fried chicken. A little strange to outsiders, but a beloved tradition. 14. Corn fritters made from flour, baking powder, corn, egg, and milk, then pan-fried until golden brown and crispier around the edges, served hot with maple syrup or apple butter. These fritters were part side dish, part treat. They were especially popular during corn harvest, when the fields were full and the kitchen smelled like frying batter and fresh produce. 15. Sweet potato scramble. Mashed sweet potatoes fried with onion, a touch of brown sugar, and butter, sometimes with bits of leftover ham tossed in. It was sweet, savory, and shockingly satisfying. Often made in cast iron and served straight from the pan. Nothing fancy, just soul-soothing food you could eat any time of day. 16. Amish potato soup. Made with diced potatoes, onions, celery, butter, milk, and a bit of flour to thicken. This soup was creamy, gentle, and easy on the wallet. Sometimes chopped hard-boiled eggs or bits of ham were added for extra protein, but even plain, it was warm and filling. Served with saltine crackers or a slice of fresh bread, it was comfort in a bowl. 17. Oatmeal molasses bread. A soft, dense loaf made from oats, flour, molasses, and yeast, often baked in 2 big pans to share or freeze. It had a slightly sweet, nutty flavor, perfect for toasting and slathering with butter or apple jelly. It was a staple in many Amish homes where nothing ever went to waste, not even a single slice. 18. Apple butter baked oatmeal. Old-fashioned oats, baked with eggs, milk, brown sugar, cinnamon, and a generous swirl of homemade apple butter. It came out soft in the middle, golden on top, and filled the house with the smell of fall. Served with milk poured over it or just a spoon. It was breakfast, dessert, or anything in between. 19. Apple dumplings. Cored apples, wrapped in a simple dough, placed in a baking dish, and drenched in a brown sugar syrup before baking until bubbly and tender. These were often made in big batches during apple season and served with cream or a scoop of vanilla ice cream. They were rustic, deeply sweet, and one of the most loved Amish desserts of all time. 20. Dandelion greens with hot bacon dressing. In early spring, before the garden came in, folks harvested young dandelion greens and served them warm with a hot dressing made of bacon grease, vinegar, sugar, and hard-boiled eggs. It was tangy, savory, and a little bitter, but healthy and fresh from the land. a true waste nothing dish that only appeared for a short season each year. 21. Amish egg and noodle casserole. Buttered egg noodles, layered with scrambled eggs, a splash of milk, a bit of cheese, and baked until set. It was a way to turn a few eggs and a bag of noodles into something that could feed everyone. Even if meat was running low, soft, creamy, and perfect for breakfast or supper. 22. Depression-era wacky cake, no eggs, no butter, no milk. This chocolate cake came together with flour, cocoa, vinegar, baking soda, and water, all mixed in the same pan it baked in. It was rich, moist, and surprisingly decadent for such a humble recipe, frosted with powdered sugar or served plain. Either way, it was always a hit. 23. Peanut butter stack cake. Layers of thin, pancake-like cakes stacked with sweet peanut butter filling in between, then wrapped and chilled overnight so the flavors could meld. Sliced like a taut and often served at weddings or family gatherings, it wasn't fancy, but it tasted like tradition. 24. Thick creamed peas over bread. Canned or fresh peas cooked in a simple white sauce of butter, flour, and milk, then ladled over slices of soft white bread or toast. It sounds plain, and it was, but it was warm, cheap, and oddly comforting, especially for folks who grew up in simpler times. 25. Cinnamon fried apples. Sliced apples cooked down with butter, sugar, and cinnamon, served warm in a bowl or spooned over biscuits and pork chops, sometimes made from bruised apples that couldn't be canned. This dish turned waste into wonder, sticky, sweet, and filled with the scent of fall. Just like Grandma's kitchen, Amish recipes were never about showing off. They were about feeding people, using what was available, and honoring the quiet joy of gathering around the table. These meals weren't fancy, but they were full of heart. And sometimes that's all we really need. Which one of these recipes reminded you of home? Or is there a dish your grandmother used to make that never made it into a cookbook? Share your memories in the comments. We'd love to hear your story. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time as we celebrate more of the food, flavors, and family moments that shaped generations.